Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel, wishing you a happy start to this nice Tuesday morning. This nice little Tuesday morning, which might be a major rejection morning. No, what I'm going to be going over in this particular video is the setup of the day. And then, of course, what this means for the next 24 to 36 hours as to if you are going to be bearish, if you are looking for rejection, things very likely do happen in the short term here, if that's going to be happening at all. Anyways, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. I want to start off first right on over here with the daily time frame on the HPDR indicator. We actually haven't referenced this in a few days or maybe even a week now, but that does not take away from its importance in this case. I just want to once again highlight the importance of the 26,600 region on a daily closing basis. If Bitcoin does start to close below there, essentially these range lows right here, which does represent the top side of the 50% of historical returns range highs, very likely we're going to see a nice big move to the downside, nice girthy move to the downside, let's say, probably a little bit below 25,000 bucks. Now that can also be called on the 4-hour time frame here, although the pivot would be different. The pivot would be slightly, significantly lower at about 26,100 on a 4-hour closing base. If that happens, then yes, very likely we're going to be witnessing a nice reversal here, reversal back down, like I said, at least below 25,000 bucks, maybe even lower than that over time as well. What else plays in within the context of this? Well, as we went over the last couple of days, coming off of the weekly closure on Sunday, the thing with the weekly Gaussian channel is that as of right now, this is what you would expect to see on a rejection. So until Bitcoin can really close a nice healthy body above the mean band, which is currently at 27,600, pressure remains to the downside. Like this is exactly where you would be expecting a rejection and reversal if there is going to be one. Of course, if Bitcoin does accept above that region, very likely looking somewhere around 32 to 34,000 bucks. And yes, the higher term time frame setups we've been looking at over the past week now, they're still valid, contingent upon holding on to that 26,500-ish region on a daily closing basis. Or a 4-hour below about 26,100, again, both on closing bases. Anyways, in the short term here, I do want to reference also daily stochastic momentum, which as you can see is going to be having downside pressure as long as price action is closing below 28,500. So what essentially is a picture that I'm painting right now? Again, if you are going to be bearish, very likely comes in from these levels, very likely does follow through from here over the next day, 2 days at most, I'd say. If you do not see follow through to the downside, then at that point, well, probably the other forces take over, obviously. But as we go through the different time frames for stochastic momentum, you can see that the 12-hour also with severe downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's below 28,600. 6-hour time frame is also going to be showing downside below 27,750. 4-hour time frame is also going to be showing downside pressure below 27,400. And even the hourly, I think, is actually, it might be a little bit up right there, a little bit of hopium right there, as long as Bitcoin's above 26,900. But right now, kind of hanging on by tooth and nail. So again, if you are looking for the downside, I do think that it would very likely be happening in this next like 24 to 48 hour period. Anyways, here's the thing. If Bitcoin does fail to break down within the next, I would say really 24-hour period, maybe you extend that all the way up to 2 days, but the reason why I hold off on, or the reason why I hold off on saying that if Bitcoin fails to break down by that time, it's very likely to experience a pretty severe bounce, actually. The reason why I'm stating that is because the 4-hour HPDR is actually in the process of making a setup. So what essentially is a setup? Well, first and foremost, we need to see a closure below the range lows. That's the blue 50% of historical returns range lows, starting at this line right here that my cursor is currently on. Then we can go and cross-reference the volatility for a contraction phase, which as of right now, we don't have that. It's still actually expanding right here. So it would take some time. It would take, at least like 4 closures, I think, in order for this one to go back into a contraction phase. That is, again, why I do say somewhere around like a day, maybe 2 days at most. But if you do see Bitcoin essentially kind of flounder around this region a little bit longer, without breaking back above about 27,300, nor below the current lows at about 26,500, or I guess you could extend that down a couple $100 further south. But ultimately, if you see Bitcoin continue to trade sideways here throughout the day, you're going to naturally start to see a volatility contraction phase, and that will fire off one of these setups over here, which with that particular setup, we back tested this 50 times. Let me just double check that. Yep. Okay. We do have the 4-hour time frame right there. You can see of the 50 times, 39 played out with a pretty sizable bounce to the upside, obviously, giving it about a 78% hit rate. On top of that, gives us some data about the average amount of time that we do expect for that setup to play out. In this case, about 41 hours, again, on average, with an average return of just under 4%, somewhere around 375 to 4%. Again, you know, there is some variance within that reads about 2% standard deviation. So giving us an overall range of just below 2% all the way up to just below 6%. So ultimately, if this setup were to fire off, again, assuming that Bitcoin does trade sideways throughout the day here without fully breaking down, then at that point, probably over the next 2 days or so from tomorrow, we're getting like way far out here, then we're probably looking, you know, somewhere between like a 3 to 5% bounce. 3% puts you back at around 27,750. 5% puts you back at around a little bit above $28,000. Why is that relevant? Because at that point, we'd be somewhere around like Thursday, maybe Friday, and of course, Bitcoin would have a chance on the 5-day and weekly for CME. On the weekly for CME to close above the mean band, not the 5-day time frame, but the weekly time frame, and then obviously spot would have a chance to follow through after that as well. So you can see this. I feel like I'm fucking Charlie from It's Always Sunny, where it's like, if you do this and do this, it's like all these different things going on right now. But you can see how kind of like one domino leads to the next. Until then, though, in the very, very short term, this is where bears would have their chance. So other than that, I won't go over the very high term time frame setups that we've been going over for the past few days. They're still as they are. There's nothing really to update there. And I do want to make a particular note, a special note for any of the people who applied for the Algo whitelist. We sent out emails yesterday for all the people who were selected. If you did not receive an email, then you were not selected. You probably didn't fit the criteria. We won't be sending out rejection emails, so I got a few questions about that. But what I do want you to know is that if you did get an acceptance email, please let us know if that works for you. Like if the setup that we've proposed works for you, and then else we'll get to adding your access and all that good stuff, and we can get started. All right, sweet. So yeah, that's it for today. I forgot to once again shill the old ByBit. ByBit's got their 0% for maker fees going on for derivative contract orders with the promotion going on over here. And then obviously you can get the Jewel Lite for free for 1 month, but you do have to fulfill one major criteria, which we've gotten some questions on. It's 100,000 in trading volume, which is like very, very small. I know it sounds like a big number, but it's actually very, very small. You know, again, this is like open and close. So if you're trading like 50,000 position size, and you do it in one trade, or one open and close trade, obviously. If you're doing 100,000, you do it in one side. Anyways, in that case, if you follow the link in the description below and all the directions, you can secure that for yourself as well. All right, sweet. Yeah, good place for me to be leaving off on this one. As always, want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully. Wait, almost fucking forgot, man, because it's too early. How is this timing for videos? I was thinking of switching on to this timing for videos. If people like it, you know, because this seems like a pretty manageable time for myself. I think it would actually probably be best for myself as well. So we're just going to do it. But let me know your thoughts anyways. And with that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.